Some have said Trump's stance is a good one to counter China's influence. Would you keep the tariffs?
No, hey, look, who said
You
Trump's
would.
idea is a good one?
That was President Biden in 2020, suggesting he was open to turning away from Trump-era tariff policies. But Tuesday, nearly 4 years later, his administration announced it would keep some of those tariffs and add more. There will soon be a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, taxes of 50% on Chinese solar cells, semiconductors, and some medical products, and a 25% tariff on some steel and aluminum products. The Biden administration says these fines will punish China for harmful trade practices and protect American investments in green energy and manufacturing. For more on these policies and their effects, we're joined by William Reinsch. He's a Scholl Chair in International Business at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you so much for being with us. Before we get to evaluating the current Biden policy, how should we think about Biden's tariff policy and the tariff policies of his predecessor?
Well, they've ended up being very much the same, although I think they get there on different roads. Trump's policy was a policy of really victimization. The Chinese are cheating us. They're costing us jobs. We need to get even. And his approach was basically hit them in the face with tariffs and keep hitting them in the face until they surrender, which didn't work. I think the Biden approach is more nuanced, which is let's look at the sectors, mostly high-tech sectors, that we really need to have domestically going forward in the future, and let's make sure they're not swamped by Chinese overcapacity and Chinese imports.
And so how will we know whether these new tariffs are effective? And of course, what are the risks of these policy choices?
Well, a lot of them are preemptive. They're designed to prevent something from happening that's not currently happening. The biggest one, the 102.5% one, is on Chinese vehicles. Well, we're not really importing very many Chinese cars right now, and we certainly won't be once the tariff goes into effect. So it's designed to prevent us from being swamped by these things. So, you know, there's not going to be a big effect in that sense. The immediate impact is apparently about $18 billion worth of goods, which is not a big amount. I don't see a big inflationary impact. Some of them actually are delayed until next year or the year after. So basically what it will do, I think, is prevent Chinese from making inroads into key sectors in our economy. And it will, I think, what the president hopes, it will stimulate our domestic industries to up their competitive game so that they're better prepared to meet American demand for EVs, chips, solar panels, and the other things that he's put tariffs on.
Is that another distinction between either the Trump policies or the ones that Trump has promised? Because he's promised an across-the-board tariff on Chinese goods. That distinction between there's no inflationary effect of a tariff on something that's not coming over here anyway.
Right. The Trump proposals would be much more inflationary, particularly his one for a 10% tariff for the whole world, across the board on everything. That would increase the price of everything that we import, which is a lot of stuff, by up to 10%. The 60% or more tariff that he's proposed on Chinese goods would have a big impact as well. We have a large deficit with China, so that would have a much more inflationary impact as well.
And finally, what's your expectation? What do you think China will do in response to these new warnings / tariffs from the Biden administration?
Well, they always retaliate. They don't always do it right away. So you don't necessarily expect something tomorrow or next week, but they get around to it. They are very good at figuring out what to do that will hurt us and not them, and that's not so easy in a globally integrated economy because our supply chains are still integrated in many respects, despite some de-risking. I think probably the things they will do is they can raise their tariffs on us to match us. They can stop buying our agricultural goods. That usually produces a sharp political reaction here in the Midwest. And they can stop selling us critical minerals that we need to build batteries and other sensitive items. They've done that a little bit. So far, what they've done is inconvenient, not fatal. If they cut off some other exports, graphite would be an example, it would probably be much more disruptive to our efforts to build batteries in that case, or to build other sensitive items.
William Reinsch, Scholl Chair in International Business at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you so much for being with us.